All right, so we always kind of kick these episodes off just talking about random whatever that's kind of going on in our lives. And Jesse, I think that the first interaction that you and I ever had was based upon people not putting their shopping carts back.
Dude.
Always about the shopping carts.
Yeah.
And so you agree with us that you should put your cart back.
I use a wheelchair full time and I return my cart. And if someone leaves it in the access, okay, fun fact, we're going to have a little lesson right now. You know the lines and the accessible parking spaces?
Yes.
Those are for wheelchair users and ramps to be able to have room to put their chair together or get out of the car. And when you park on the lines, leave your cart on the lines, put your motorcycle on the lines, you are taking away my access. So don't do that. Thank you.
And I don't want to say like everyone is kind of an asshole and they don't think about it, but I just don't think people are considerate about other people. It's just all about me. But honestly, like our opinion here seems to not be, at least for the people that I guess it was like 50-50. A lot of people were anti putting your cart back.
Yeah, there were excuses.
Yeah, like YouTube
excuses.
chewed us up.
What is it? I forget what the one was.
We're taking jobs away from people by putting the carts back.
They still have to go get the carts from outside.
Right.
I mean, no one's asking people to bring these carts all the way back inside.
I'm not going to take the cart back inside. I'm going to put it in the corral in the parking lot. Right. That's all you have to do. No one's asking you to put it back. But, people enjoy taking the carts back because that's their time to go have a smoke or whatever. I used to be a cart boy. I think like that was kind of like everyone at some point did the cart gig at a grocery store. And like I hated it because it was like bagging groceries and getting carts sucked.
Yeah, they would come up, Eric, I need you to go out and get carts. It's 95 degrees out and there's traffic. Actually, I'm kind of proud. I got really good with that little rope with the hook at the end of it. And I would just wrap it around my hand and I could push like way more, I think, than everybody else could push at a time. I was hype about it.
Well, I'm confused though. Like, do these people not have a nice car that they don't want someone else's cart running into? Like, I have a nice car. I'm going to put my cart back because I for sure would not want a stray cart running into my car.
There is nothing more frustrating than going into the parking lot and having a cart leaned against your car and you know that it's because someone left it and then the wind took it and it is now, or they just push it and they leave. Like,
crazy.
Or I think it was like my sister and she was like, well, with kids, like I have 2 kids. And I still take them and we walk to the corral and then back to the car. It's not that hard. But YouTube, not a fan of that opinion. Hated it.
I saw some guy, I went to the farmer's market the other day. Greg, I don't think I told you about this. And I was just like, it was like a really weird string of events. It's not super crazy, but some guy, I saw him pushing his cart over to like the light post in the middle of the parking lot. And I knew he was just going to leave it there because the cart corral was the other direction. And then I saw somebody next to me. So this pulled my attention away. The car next to me backed out and they had their back door open, like the back right passenger door. And they just started driving down the highway. Like I saw him like leave. And I think I was just like standing there, like jaw open, just watching them drive away. I wanted to like holler at them and go help them because they looked like they were older. But sure enough, as soon as they hit the highway, they started going fast enough and their door shut. So I don't know if that was intentional or not.
I don't think you're supposed to drive with your doors open. I don't think that's
but have you ever like had like, oh, I got this big piece of lumber from the store and I needed to bring it home? Yeah, I guess.
I think the trunk is different than leaving a door.
Well, if you have a car, maybe. That's still dangerous.
If you have a car, that's even worse.
We were at the farmer's market.
No, you put the seats down, leave the trunk open, let it have the trunk.
Yeah. We were at the farmer's market, so the biggest thing that they could have had was like a big eggplant or like a really long celery stalk or something. So I don't think that's what it was. I think they were just dazed.
Oh man, I'm stuck on the shopping cart thing because
right?
I make it a point to make eye contact. If someone leaves their shopping cart, I love getting up while they're sitting there, like on their phone. I rush to get my chair together and out of the car just so I can make eye contact when I push the cart back for them.
Yep.
That's got to make them feel like an
I
asshole.
think you have to make them feel like an asshole. I think that's the only way but it's not going to change like those individuals. That's who they are.
Yeah, I think if we did it, it wouldn't be as funny as if you did it, Jesse.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Being in a wheelchair. Yeah.
It's definitely like something parody, right?
Yes.
Wheelchair users.
You must be having a
contact.
you must be having a really hard day. Here, let me get this for you.
I said that. I have said, oh man, it just must be so hard to put this back. I've got you.
I love that.
Oh. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us, and glad that you could be a part of our shopping cart conversation. But I'm glad that we were able to connect. So something that you said, and I kind of just want to jump into it because I'm super interested. You said you have a book coming out.
Yeah. My book, it's a memoir called Power in the Role. And it's about my life long before the wheelchair came into play. And it's very interesting because wheels have been a common theme of my life since before I even came out the womb. And so it's really it was cool to write the book and reflect on the lessons I've learned throughout my life. I try to, really take an honest approach to some of the choices I made. I had a sex addiction starting at a young age, and I'm very raw and open about that. And for a woman to be like, yeah, like I treated men the way men treat women, and be real and raw about that, it's definitely gotten some good feedback, a lot more negative from men essentially, and
Sure.
and like it's a raw, honest account of the choices I made that ended up landing me in a wheelchair, and then what I did with that and how I turned it into something so incredible.
So writing, we've talked to only one other person who wrote a book, and it sounds like obviously it's a lot of work. So like what's that journey like for actually like sitting down and kind of putting your stories to paper?
Well, first things first, find someone that's reputable. I spent 2 years working with somebody who was a complete farce. She was supposed to be an editor, publisher, spilled intimate details of my life to this person, and she never produced a manuscript. And so I ended up dropping her and then got my current editor, Catherine, and she's just been a dream. She's actually been following me since 2016, which is really cool because she's seen the full progression of wild child party girl, Jesi, to this businesswoman who's actually doing something with the injury and making the world a little better. And she's done a lot of stuff with my nonprofit. And so it was like, God really came in and provided this person for me at that time. And then she submitted us to the publisher, and it was really cool. So once the editor deal went through and I picked her up, I said, give me 6 months. I'm going to brain dump into a Google Doc. And so I just started talking to Google, and I was like, hey, these are things that happened in my life. These are the most impactful stories. This is what I learned from it. And I gave her 60 pages of a Google brain dump. And within 3 months, she had me a chapter book. And then we went through and read it and filled in the blanks and read it and filled in the blanks. And then eventually I had a full book. And oh man, it's really, I think, emotionally freeing because now no one can tell me anything. I've let my darkest demons out. I know who I am. I know what I went through. I know where I wasn't a good person and where I really turned it around. And I think that's the most beautiful thing. You said something earlier about the shopping cart people and how that's who they are and that's who they've always been. I was that person. And I turned into something so much better. Obviously, I had to go through a lot and struggle a lot. But then it turned into the most beautiful thing that could have ever happened to me.
Yeah, I mean, like how I've only ever written like, papers for school, like, but they weren't like my own. It wasn't my story, right?
Also, let me say, if I had a book about my life, it would probably be like a 12-page picture book is what I'm certain. And I would have somebody else draw the pictures. Just, I have to put that out there. When you said, 60-page brain dump?
Yeah.
Mine's 12-page picture book.
So what is it like though, going back and like, is it weird going back and reading your own like stories,
I think the hardest thing was, I didn't realize how much I took my life for granted. I grew up racing four-wheelers. I got to live my dreams from a young age. And then again, I fell into a sex addiction and validation from a young age. I was about 13 when I first started having sex. And it led to me at 15, I had an abortion, and I never actually addressed that. I just kept moving on. And so then I had to go back and see how, one, I took for granted such a massive opportunity and how different my life could look. And two, this whole entire emotional thing where now I'm in a space where I want to have a baby with my partner and I really want to do these things. I'm not 15, and it's definitely a lot different of a perspective looking back at it. And so it was emotional. I'm really nervous. I'm reading the audiobook. And so I'm more nervous by that because I barely can get through the acknowledgments without being like, I wrote a book.
I think it's important when the author of a book does their own audiobook. So that's props. That's really good.
I think though too, like by having the author do it, it's more gritty, it's more real than like Eric reading, my life.
Oh, and because the person reading, if they didn't write it, they don't know exactly what you mean, like your inflection, how you would read it. And then you would go and listen to it maybe 5 years later and you'd be like, what the fuck? Like, this is different. This isn't the same book.
Exactly. And so I was very inspired by Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights. If the audience, y'all haven't listened to it, go listen to it. Because you can visually see the stories he's telling. And so that's my personal goal, is to bring it to life. I have enough people that have been following along the journey for years. They know my voice. And so I'm really excited to get to tell the stories and really paint the picture so they can see the stories. I've got to live a really cool life. And I'm sad because where the book ends, so much more has happened since then.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, man, I'm going to have to write a second one.
Yeah, it ends on chapter 15, but then like your next book that's chapter 16. Start the book on chapter 16, whatever the number is.
So with a book coming out, do people still do like book tours?
I'm working on it.
Yeah. Okay.
So
all right.
I'm planning everything. The publisher, they really just kind of give you an outline, but then it's all on me. So my book's currently available in Barnes & Noble. And my best friend, Amber, she races in NASCAR, wrote my foreword. I live in North Carolina, just north of Charlotte. We're NASCAR City, USA. And so there's a Barnes & Noble right up the road from us. And I'm working on doing a dual book signing with her since she wrote the foreword. Just talking to Barnes & Noble to see if they're willing to do that. And then my local one, literally less than a mile up the road here, I'm going to try and do one there. But I work for a bowel bladder management company. I've worked for them for years. I was a brand ambassador, then created a position within the company. Really cool opportunity. And I've been in all the major rehab facilities across the country. And so I really am working to get with my partners in the industry to go to these rehabs and have them sponsor individual stops on the book tour. So I'm really hitting clinicians so that way every new wheelchair user can see that there's so much life to have after this injury. Now the book really could apply, like y'all could read it and really get a lot of lessons from it. There's reflections in almost every chapter where I break down the lesson I learned. And again, it's very beautiful because it's just really raw and authentic. I didn't leave anything out, which, could bite me in the ass later on, but we'll see what happens.
No, I think you said it best. Like you're owning it. It's almost it's like 8 Mile, Eminem's doing the rap battle, and he disses himself more than he disses anybody else. He takes away all their ammo because he's owning it. And the same, just exactly what you're doing. No one could use that against you. I mean, you say you get hate. I'm sure you do, like from men that are, I don't know what, upset.
Right. Well, I made a post probably about a month ago, 2 months ago, and it just said, it was like when that trend was going around of you can't hurt me because X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, because of my sex addiction, I got back on the back of a motorcycle with someone I had no business being with, and I ended up paralyzed. It was somebody that I was sleeping with, somebody that I was regularly using. And if I wasn't using men, I would have never got on the bike with this person. And because it was someone I regularly used, I love the rush. That was what I would do. And like, thank God the man bought me a very, very great helmet because I even have a traumatic brain injury. So I was in a motorcycle accident. Woman made a U-turn into the bike I was a passenger on. It was a sport bike, so the passenger does sit a little higher. I saw the whole thing happen. The woman wasn't slowing down. The driver of the bike wasn't slowing down. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're going to wreck. So I held on to him as tight as I could. I closed my eyes, tucked into the back of him, and I flew over her SUV. Probably went anywhere from like 30 to 50 feet, somewhere in there. And my body did this like whole roll deal. And then I broke my back right around my chest and then right above my belly button. So I broke it in two places when I folded over, and my chest collapsed and my ribs punctured my lungs in between that spot. And so I'm paralyzed. I was initially paralyzed from the like brawl line down. I had a slight brain injury and brain bleed, and then I coded twice and had to be resuscitated. So the fact that I'm even alive is probably one of the biggest blessings. And I think the most powerful part of my journey is I was an atheist up until the day before my accident. And I was at my ex's grandmother's funeral, and like as the pastor speaking, I feel warm calmness come over me, and I know everything is going to be okay. The next day, my life changes.
Wow.
Wow, that's powerful and fucking terrifying. I
Yes.
mean, like that.
Yeah. It's cool though. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Everyone's like, I'm so sorry. And like, yeah, I won't lie. In the beginning, I contemplated suicide a few times. And throughout the injury, there's been two other times that I've absolutely contemplated just like ending my life. Um, But I always remember, so when I coded, at some point I saw my grandmother who passed when I was a child. And she looked at me and she said, Jesse May, I can't stay with you and you can't stay with me, but you have things to do and people to get back to. When I tell you that's the only thing that has kept me alive on my darkest days, that is the only thing that has kept me alive on my darkest days. Because I'm like, Jesse, this is not about you. If you take your life, that is selfish. You are no longer serving that mission that was meant for you, and you cannot do this. You have to stay focused on the mission at hand. And it truly has been the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Like I said, I struggled with a couple of addictions before my injury, not just the sex. The sex was at the forefront, but there's a couple of other issues in there. And getting paralyzed really saved me from me. And it gave me so much more than it took away. And I feel so grateful, even when I'm struggling on my hardest days. Like I dig for that gratitude because the life it's given me is so much more powerful. But it took me doing healing. It took me letting go of my expectation of the way it should be. And it took me letting go of wanting to go back. And so often, whenever something happens to us, we constantly are trying to go back. There is no back. This is your new reality, whether it's a loss of a loved one, loss of your job, and some type of financial struggle. You can't just go back and undo it. You have to accept where you're at and keep moving forward, or you're going to stay miserable in your own reality. And that's the truth of it. And I think the more people that accept that, the easier it is to keep on rocking.
There's plenty of people that do just stay miserable. Plenty of people. It's wild to think that something like that netted a like a positive thing to your life. Like that's just crazy to think of. It makes me think. What do they say? The worst day of your life is just that. It's the worst day of your life. And I have to imagine that the lows that you've been at have to give you perspective to like, you've been all the way down here and now you're here. Like, and you probably couldn't be here if you hadn't been here before.
Y'all are literally catching me on the end of a really, really rough time. And it was the second time that I have actually contemplated after I like got over the initial paralysis. And it's like I got hit with a lot of health issues this year. I went from being able to, I was fifth in the world for CrossFit. I was doing Tough Mudders. I was doing all these fitness events. And after my last spinal fusion, my back never healed correctly. So I've broke my spinal fusion in half twice within 8 years of being paralyzed.
Wow.
And so I've had to have 2 additional back surgeries, last one being the biggest, where they actually removed all the hardware and replaced it with thicker screws and rods. And I still don't have sensation all the way to about the top of my shoulders on my back. And then half of my muscles on my left side aren't firing properly. And so it's been really mentally tasking to try and come back from that. But then my chair got bent by the airline to travel for work. And so my chair got bent by the airline back in April. They replace it, thank you. But getting a loaner that's fit to you is near impossible. So I was in a damaged chair for about a month and a half, and I started having really gnarly shoulder issues, and I couldn't transfer properly. And so I go get an MRI, find out that I have this old tear in my shoulder, probably from 2020, back when I was having shoulder issues, which led me to becoming a nutrition coach, and a cyst grew on it. Okay, cool. Well, now my transfer stuck. I drug my butt across my tire and got an abscess on my bottom. What do I sit on all day? So I went to the hospital after 4 rounds of antibiotics. Fast forward to right now, it finally bursted, and I'm on the healing side. I currently have a massive hole on the back of my leg from this abscess from hitting my tire transferring. I've been on my butt all day today. I'm on my butt all week. And I'm like, this is not convenient or conducive. And at my hardest, I also had like crazy muscle things. I wasn't able to transfer. And I'm just like, when life adds up on that and you watch your mobility get taken away, that's probably the hardest part. And I have to recognize, like, Jesi, you're doing what you can. You're going to have struggles. Everyone has struggles. They all look different. This isn't the end. You're still capable. But my biggest personal battle with this is my brain doesn't realize my body's paralyzed. And my body's been paralyzed for 10 years. It doesn't do what it did even 2 years ago. And I'm also 33. Like, all these things I'm starting to realize. And so luckily one of my businesses is I co-own a wellness facility here in Lake Norman. We have cold plunge, infrared sauna, red light, hyperbaric chamber, PMF. It's all encompassing, literally wellness facility. And so I've been able to use that and help me heal a little bit. And so that's been, if I didn't have that resource, right, what would I do? I went to the shoulder surgeon and he's like, yeah, we don't need surgery. And I'm like, what? What a blessing. Let's go.
It's crazy to me that people have these things that can't be fixed by modern medicine. Like I have a friend with a back injury and a knee injury, and she can't, like, they're just like, sorry, it's not bad enough for you to get surgery, and we don't really have anything. It's just out of luck. And so she's been going to like those things, like those centers with ice bath and the saunas and I don't even know what all those things are.
You should look into, just share this with her, peptides, BPC 157, TB 500. I've been using that stack for my shoulders specifically, and it's been an absolute game changer. They're specific for healing.
Okay.
And so it could be something to help manage that pain. Like, it completely turned my pain around.
Peptides. I'll have to re-listen to this episode to get the rest of that. Thank you.
And so, like, I mean, 10 years is a long time. So, like, with the improvement of modern medicine, have you noticed, like, things have been, like, I don't know, 10 years ago, were those peptides, was that something that was for you, or like?
Oh, if those peptides wouldn't have been available 10 years ago. So, fun fact, I'm in a clinical trial. They placed a neuroscaffold in my spinal cord to reconnect the disconnect. The trial was called Inspire. There were 17 patients in the country injected with this thing. I was number 2.
Wow.
Of those 17, 2 passed away due to trauma, so the trial got shut down. There were 7 that went from complete to incomplete, which basically means you can feel your butthole. And of those 7, 4 went from Asia A to Asia B or C, which means they either got sensory, movement, or both. I didn't get better, and I didn't get worse. And so it wasn't until about 4 years in, I started messing with different diets, not only physical diet, but my mindset. I started seeing who I was following, what kind of content I was consuming, what shows were I watching, what music was I listening to. I became very self-aware of that. Of course, trying different nutrition diets led me to under-eating, which led me to having shoulder issues. That was the first time after the initial contemplation where I was like, my cousin actually committed suicide, and I was like, man, I can't transfer. I'm losing my independence. And it was a week after, and I'm like, I don't want my family to be in pain the way that they've been about my cousin, but I'm like, I just don't want to do this. I'm like, God, please just drop me a line here. What do I need to do? And it led me to nutrition coaching. Here, it turns out I was eating 30 to 60 grams of protein a day, wasn't eating enough, and starving my muscles. And so they weren't able to repair. And that's what led me to the space, because I'm like, how many people are getting surgery and having these issues, and it could be fixed with food?
Yeah.
And I think it's so important that we, all humans, consider the longevity of our body. Like, we're all getting older, and it's possible to age with grace.
Yeah. And what is it? You only get one. You only get one body.
Oh,
This is it.
That's the truth. Let me tell you.
I've more so, I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm super health conscious, but I know the right things to do. I'm just a slut for McDonald's. I just love like some greasy fast food.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Greg and I talk a lot about I mean, we've had whole episodes where we just talk about food or going to the buffet or something, but I know what's right, and I try to make those changes sometimes. But more so right now, I just can't afford to eat fast food anymore.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to like cook at home, and so at least I know if I cook almost anything at home, it's more healthy than if I went out and ordered nearly anything from fast food places or a restaurant.
And so like groceries are super expensive. Like we all know that, but fast food is even more expensive. And like we would order, there's 4 of us in the house. So like we would do a grocery order. And then I would like, we order on Monday. The next Monday would roll around. And then, with work or whatever kid schedules, then we would, let's just order groceries on Thursday. We'll get McDonald's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, And then
that was genuine excitement on my face when you said, let's get McDonald's.
Well, but we've now been good at like, all right, every Monday we're going to sit down and order groceries. And we haven't been eating out nearly as much because too, like I love McDonald's. As Eric said, also a slut for fast food, but I'm 34 now. Like it makes me feel like shit when I eat it. I feel like literal death. Now, granted, every once in a while I do enjoy it, but I have noticed, like, as I've gotten older, I can't eat that cheeseburger for breakfast like I used to be able to when I was in my 20s. I can't even drink alcohol anymore without getting a migraine the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things where, like, yes, I've realized that as I've just gotten older, the importance of just taking care of like sometimes I'll sit there and like I used to eat so much that I would start to sweat. And I would like, and my like heart would pound. I'm like, I might actually have a heart attack and die. And my life now isn't just, when it was just me, okay.
Oh, different.
But like when I have a wife and, I have a wife and I have 2 kids where it's like, I should probably be around for the long haul.
I've been telling Shay, she's been chewing me out. This should probably be the conversation that makes me buy an extra life insurance policy. She's been like really upset that I don't have an extra one for her. But the whole time, and you call me an asshole for this, but I never wanted to make my life or the loss of my life more valuable than me existing. Does that make sense? I don't want to incentivize my death.
But with life insurance, like you can't look at it that way. You have to look, if you die, then who's going to take like...
And I say that real tongue in cheek too. Like, I don't think that she's like, oh yeah, now that he's got his life insurance policy, I don't care. But I don't think that she thinks that. I think that's my way to like cope with death stuff. But kind of make it funny.
Things, like if you die, like you at least cover your mortgage, so that way Shay and the kids have a place to live. That's how I always looked at it. Not like, and honestly, everyone listening, if you kill your spouse,
you get paid.
Well, but like,
you go to jail.
Police forensics are so good, you're not going to get away with it. So, you're going to get caught. You're going to get caught. But I think everyone should have a life insurance policy until they have enough money to not need one.
Sure.
Which I can tell you I don't right now. So
have enough money to need one, or have one?
Multiple life insurance policies because Daddies the podcast has taken all of our money from us. So
stop it.
Yeah, but it has. So yes, life insurance policies are good.
Yeah. Well, I agree with that. Yeah, 100%. But when I go back, like you guys don't have to cut McDonald's out fully. Just don't eat it every day.
Okay. Like, well, if you
eat clean 80% of the time, you're going to feel good. Now, obviously, if you want to optimize your body, you want to do that more. But like my favorite thing, I call it a cheat burger, and it's a Five Guys cheeseburger, both patties, boy. All right. And with the Cajun fries, you got to dip them in the mayo and the vinegar. Okay.
I love you for that. The mayonnaise with the French fries is the best. It's tops. Okay. Yes.
All right, Eric, we're going to Five Guys tomorrow for lunch.
This conversation is having the opposite effect now.
Well, so I think it's impossible. Like there are people that Eric and I work with, and like they'll eat chicken boiled, rice, and broccoli for every meal.
Oh yeah, he's a bodybuilder.
He is a bodybuilder, but that's not like I need variety in my life. Like I
he
do
changes
that.
it up sometimes. Sometimes he eats salmon.
And he's like, yeah, but I'm using Tabasco sauce today, so it's different. It's like, dude, that's the same thing, just with a fucking condiment on top. But I think cutting out and saying like no fast food ever, like it's just impossible. You can't. I don't think it's doable. Like I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
It is doable. Well, and like I said, if the all or nothing mentality is not for you, don't fucking do it. Because you'll never be consistent with it and you will yo-yo diet your entire life. And I think that's the number one myth of dieting as a whole is like, we gotta be perfect all the time. Nah, if you literally I tell my clients, like, if you can eat clean 80% of the time, you're still gonna get closer to your result. Now, obviously, you're not gonna get there as quickly and it's not going to be as close as you want to be, but you can get results still by just, adding. There's a couple of supplements I always recommend adding. And then I'm like, go ahead and live your life to the fullest. Like, as long as you eat enough protein calories and you stay within your calories, you're going to lose weight. You're going to get fit. You're going to do what you need to do. And it's frustrating whenever we get that all or nothing mentality because then you just don't stick with it. And you're like, I don't want to do this. I'm miserable. I hate myself. I hate this food. I hate that. And also like being willing to make saucy things. Bodybuilders are a different breed, but we're regular humans. So throw some chicken in the crock pot with your favorite McCormick seasoning. And then have a bunch of different seasonings in the counter or in the cabinet so you can mix it up every week. And now you're not just eating chicken, you're eating a different flavor. And then I have a rice cooker. I love to use that thing, make it quick. You can have a meal in 30 minutes, call it a day.
So I guess I'll put this out there now for the whole world. I started using GLP-1.
Oh, okay.
And so not necessarily for the weight. So I get chronic kidney stones and chronic migraines. So I started using this device called the Nerivio, and it's this band that like sends this shock wave up to your whatever, and it's supposed to help prevent them. But my neurologist also recommended like an Ozempic or like a semaglutide compound to help with kidney function and migraines. The issue that I'm facing right now is I lost like 9 pounds in 10 days.
Yeah.
And so and the thing is like, I can't eat as much as I used to, but even like now making sure like I'm at like 1,100 calories a day. And I'm like, I should probably be eating more because I feel like before we got on this call, I was like, man, I feel like I'm going to pass out. I need to eat like an orange or something. And so like I'm struggling now trying to, I'm injecting myself every week, but then I can't.
How much are you injecting?
0.10 of a milliliter.
That's it. And you're still feeling those side effects.
Still feeling those side effects. Wow. And then it goes up in a week to like 20 and then 40 in another 4 weeks or whatever. It's like every 4 weeks I'm doing this, but like I definitely feel, and I do feel like shit after using it. Like I feel like
next day you're exhausted. I use a GLP-2 to where I hurt my shoulder I need to lose 10 pounds that, and nutrition obviously is the easiest, like the most safe way to lose weight, but I didn't have that kind of time. I needed to lose it quickly. And that crash the day after your injection is no joke. You literally, it was like 1:00 in the afternoon. I'm like, I need to lay down. I need to lay down right now.
it reminds me of like when, I don't know, like when you you have the flu or something, and like I just feel like, oh, I need a blanket,
body achy,
and I just need to lay. No one talk to me.
So I'm not a doctor, and I don't prescribe any of this stuff. But Shay is also on Mounjaro or one of those things, and my wife, and she, they recommended that she increase her dose, and she just didn't, or she like cuts her things in half. So Greg, just because they recommend you go from 10 to 20 to 40 to 60, whatever. I don't know. Look into it, but I don't know if you have to.
Well, my thing is, like, I can't afford 10 pounds a week. I will literally wither away.
Yeah. So I will say there's different compounds of the GLPs. A GLP-3, retrobutide, just came out. It's a little newer. It also has growth hormone in it. So you don't lose as much muscle while you're losing the weight, where the GLP-1, like your Ozempic, or your GLP-2, like tirzepatide, that's the one I use. They don't have that property in it. So sometimes you lose a little bit of muscle mass along with the weight loss. And so to avoid that, the GLP-3 is kind of a better option because the side effects are also less intense. And it's intense. It's hard to eat. You feel like you're constantly full. I'm like, if I didn't use my gut supplement, I couldn't eat. It was like I was lucky to get a protein shake in a day. I just had zero appetite. And I'm like, okay, Jesi, this is not good for you. And I did the same thing. I ended up cutting my dose way smaller. And then I went longer in between even because it affected me so negative. And it's across the board. There's another wheelchair user that has the same person that he gets it's a peptide essentially too, back to the peptides, but that he gets his stuff from. And he's like, yo, that trizepatide, like, what were your symptoms? I'm like, dude, this was it. And we had very similar experiences.
I'm glad to know that it's not just me, and like that is a common, thing for a lot. I was on like the subreddit and everyone's like, I feel like shit.
Yeah.
I feel like literal death. And I'm not glad to know, but like it was one of the things.
I feel like glad to know.
Yeah,
you don't
but I'm
want
glad
to
to
suffer
know.
alone.
But I'll tell you what, like, I don't want to say it's like easy mode, but I was like, wow, that was the fastest 9 pounds I've ever lost.
Ever.
Yeah. But like Eric and I went to Taco Bell 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I'm going to get
his normal,
my normal, and then I was like, wow, I can eat half of this burrito. Boy, am I full.
Yeah,
and like that was it. And I do notice, though, for me, my issue is Eric and I, so we record our episodes typically Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, and then we game after to kind of decompress, and I snack. Like, snacking is my thing, but I have noticed after taking it, like, I don't have those, like, thoughts. Like, I don't even think about, like, the noise, that food noise is just gone, which kind of sucks because I do love me a good snack every once in a while, but, like, I don't have those cravings anymore. And I feel like, you snack on a bunch of bullshit and chips and some nachos, a piece of pizza, and now it's just, I don't want to eat. I drink coffee. I drink like 10 cups of coffee a day, so I'll drink a cup of coffee at night. And
you are going to have a cup of coffee after this.
And
we're going to beat that fucking boss that we've been trying to beat all week.
So this is what Eric and I do. And then, but yeah, I have noticed that though, which is nice. But it's just one of those things where like, I don't know if I want to do it, take it forever, but
yeah, I mean, if you don't intend to take it forever and you have like regular brain things, there's some nutritional things that you can do as well. Getting a quality omega-3. You want to make sure that the EPA and DHA are separated on it, and you can see them in separate categories to be sure you're getting good of the brain supplements, essentially the brain feeding things. If you like blueberries are awesome. And things like that, fats, having a higher fat diet can sometimes help as well. Not your saturated fats from your deep fried food, but but getting healthy fats, even like avocado is great. Peanut butter is good when it's lower in sugar. But you can do it nutritionally. But again, it's maybe learning those choices while you're like, because so my clients, we do use peptides regularly. Like we'll use a GLP-1, GLP-2, and the lifestyle with it is really important, because if you go off of it and you don't change your lifestyle, guess what's going to happen?
Well,
right back where you started.
That's what the guy told me on the phone. He's like, people, like, they'll call me after like 2 months and they won't change, so they'll just take it and they'll say, well, nothing's burning off. Like, I'm still like, I exercise every day. Like I do that as well. But like some people apparently just take it and they're just like, I'm still eating the same stuff, but I'm supposed to be losing weight. And he's like, I promise you, nothing will change. You will just feel like death while you're doing it. So I do eventually want to go that route of just kind of the clean eating and not injecting something if I don't necessarily have to. Not saying I'm all for modern medicine, but
yeah, no.
The less I have to intake, the better, or ingest, the better, or shoot into my legs.
Yeah, I think everybody can agree that if you can do it on your own, better.
Yeah, right.
But
it's a great tool, and that's what we need to look at it as a tool and not a solvent. Because it truly is a tool to help kickstart that. If I have somebody that has a lot of weight to lose, I'm going to be like, hey, let's talk to your doctor, work with your doctor, get you on I prefer GLP-2 or 3. Let's get you on one of those, and insurance potentially will cover it. And so then we have it covered. And while we're on this and losing that extreme weight, let's get your lifestyle in check. Now let's talk about nutrition, break those limiting beliefs around food, and really get you to understand how food works for you. So then you go off of it and holy crap, you're able to keep the weight off for the first time in your life. Like, let's go. But it needs to be looked at as a tool, and that needs to be emphasized more. And people need to accept that it's a tool and not a solvent for weight loss forever.
Have I just saw on Netflix, we watched the first episode. It's like a documentary on The Biggest Loser. Have you guys seen that?
I've seen the show, but I haven't seen the documentary.
There's a documentary about The Biggest Loser
on Netflix, of course.
It's on Netflix. Yeah, Netflix will make a documentary about everybody.
Yep.
But I didn't know how big a show that was. And like I must have just tuned in because I know the scale scenes, like where they weigh in and the numbers change back and forth. I know I've seen that, like that. I remembered that, but I don't think I ever watched the show. Because there were some transformations, right? Okay, yeah,
that wasn't our thing.
No, that wasn't our age.
Right.
We weren't watching The Biggest Loser.
That's true. That's true.
Maybe, but not.
Still watching SpongeBob.
Yeah,
probably.
Right. No, we weren't watching. Well, what's the other one? My 600-Pound Life with Dr. Now, and he'll put you in your place real fast.
Wait, is that okay? I think I know who that is because my wife bought stickers of him to put like on the refrigerator, and it says things.
He's a little short guy with the pot belly.
And but it's things like you don't need that, and he's like very blunt.
Because they'll say like, oh, I'm so hungry, I haven't eaten anything in a week. He said, well, you don't need anything because you ate all the food that you need for the next 3 years.
Like, you're not gonna starve.
Right.
You're not going to disappear and wither away.
Yeah.
And then they never. My disappointment with that show is they always like relapse. I mean, obviously it's hard, but then you never actually see anyone have the surgery. It's like, well, you were too big. Sorry, you're SOL. And then they do a fast forward, and nothing's changed, or that person died. This is fucking tragic. I mean, like nothing changed. I've never seen anyone get the surgery in the show. Because I feel like that's what they're trying to do, lose weight so that he'll do the surgery, and it never happens. So, that's
not effective.
Not effective.
Sad.
Yeah, it is.
Magic.
So we were talking about clean eating, and I'm curious, this isn't necessarily clean eating, but how do you feel about like natural soaps and fragrances? Are you like, do you put any thought into that?
No.
Okay.
I'm trying to.
This is Greg's other passion.
I mean, I use like Native, but the Native got bought out by somebody, right? And then like I use the Siesta chips, and they got bought out by Lay's, and it's like, so I honestly, maybe before I moved in with my boyfriend and the boys came into my life, sure. But I'm a bonus mom to 2 boys. They're 11 and 9. And it's a full-time, like, they're garbage disposals, and I need to be mindful about where my money goes, and I'm not going to spend, $20. And it's like, it was Andy Frisella that said the other week, he's like, no one likes your natural deodorant. You smell like shit. Like,
well, yeah, like you like if there's one smell I'm not a big fan of patchouli. I'm sorry if you're a patchouli wearer, but patchouli to me, it's a essential oil, and it's very, I don't want to like say, oh, if you go near a hippie, like that's what they smell of, but like,
is it ode to hippie? Do they like ring a hippie out? And
anytime I see like it's just a very distinct stank. And it's one of those things that I can't get down with. But I was curious to see if like with the clean eating, there's so let's backpedal a little bit, right? So Eric and I, when we first started, some of our first guests were artisan soap makers. I'm big on in the soap community. I like the cold processed artisan soaps, right? Like that's just what I like. I like beard oils. I like soaps.
Greg's budget for these items used to be multiple hundreds of dollars a month. Yeah.
Well, okay, but here's the thing.
And like, all of our friends would see him like posting these things on Facebook. Like, I have soap for sale. Oh, are you looking for one? You probably have one right next to you.
I don't. I just have a bunch of beard oils around me. But okay, but my thing is like, I like supporting small businesses, and I would like getting these natural cold pressed soaps. I've dialed it back. But I went down this rabbit hole, and fragrances apparently cause cancer and yada, yada, yada. And there's really not a whole lot of scientific proof that they do. So I was curious to see like how other people feel about, like clean eating and if they're also for like the supernatural. Like I use native deodorant as well now just because it's easy to get. I can go into Target and Walmart and find it. But I used to get like I still have a bunch of deodorants that were made from, people in New Jersey or whatever, and that used to be my shit. But I guess I'm in the minority for
no,
that.
I mean, so,
yeah, he is.
No,
it's fine.
I do events at our facility, and I'm the one who plans them, and we get vendors to come out. And, now that you say that, I'm like, wow, last event I had 2 natural soap makers, and they also made candles. That black candle on my counter is from one of them, and it smells
okay.
It's a great candle.
So I'm all for it. You're in North Carolina. I'm trying to think if I know anyone out in North Carolina making soaps. I probably do.
What do we used to say Greg is a big deal in the soap community.
Not anymore. I've fallen off the wagon, but that used to be my shit.
Fell off the soap wagon.
I fell off the soap wagon. Well, okay. Now a bar of soap, if you go to, Eric's Soap Shop, it's like $11.50 before shipping for a bar of soap that lasts 2 weeks. Because I've refused to use body wash. There's no body wash up in here. Bars of soap only. So I'll just leave it at that.
The soap habit, guys.
Yeah, it was an expensive addiction.
A real fucking problem.
Well, then I don't understand you guys. You would buy them, and then you'd be like, hey, I've got these bars of soap for sale.
So, okay.
Not gently used. Not used
gently
at all.
Gently used costs more money, and that's on a different website.
Shut up.
No, but so Sydney Sweeney, right? Sydney Sweeney, everyone is all up in arms because, the jeans. Get the fuck out of here. Like, that's just stupid. Like, it just hurts my head.
Everyone's just looking for something to be offended about. Like, let's be real.
Anytime I go anywhere and I see Sydney Sweeney, I'm just happy. It just makes me happy to see her, right? I just enjoy Sydney Sweeney. I always have. But she had a bar of soap that she did with Dr. Squatch. And she took a bath, gave them her bath water, and they made 5,000 bars of soap with her bath water.
Do you think it was just one bath?
It was just apparently like they took the water and then they dehydrated it into a powder and just kind of put it into the soaps, right? But they sold 5,000. I got on at, I don't know,
try to buy one
2 hours before it launched, and I still couldn't get one. Do you remember we were at Taco Bell, speaking of the devil, and I couldn't get one, and it sold out.
Makes it sound like we go to Taco Bell a lot.
So the Sydney Sweeney bar of soap, and it came with a certificate of authenticity signed by her, and it was numbered 1 through 5,000, and they're selling for like $200, $300, $400. So the Sydney Sweeney Squatch bar of soap, couldn't get one, but I'll just leave it at that. So
is that where
you could resell it?
Well, so that's my thing. So Dr. Squatch got bought out by Unilever, but their soaps have such a high resale ability. I've made a killing reselling Dr. Squatch soap. Like, you can buy a bar through their subscription, 6 for $36 with a coupon. You can get 6 for $25. I've sold bars of soap for $20, $30 each. Oh. So you're talking 10x almost on like that whole lot right there. Wow. People in the soap community love their fucking soap. It's crazy.
They're passionate about
it. They are
clearly.
They're a passionate bunch. I don't lump myself into that.
You used to.
I used to.
You separated yourself from them.
All right. So
I did that to the cripple community.
All right, so your book is coming out, and I just want to touch on the so it's coming out in October. Do you have an official
November 24th?
November
6th. Yep, I just got the official date last week, November 26th. It will be officially released. It's available for pre-sale, Barnes and Noble, Amazon, and from the publisher, it's McFarland. But it's called Power in the Roll, and my name is Jesi Stracham. It looks like Stracham. But a straw ham, like a straw you drink from, a ham you eat, okay?
That's got to be annoying. I'm sure people fuck your name up every single time.
Dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, Dad, you're Polak. Like, thanks. Appreciate it. Like, why couldn't we just have a normal name?
Right.
I feel you on that. Now, so digital and print only, or is it available?
Digital print and audiobook will be coming soon. My final edits are due Friday for the final manuscript. So I'm currently reading it right now to send it off to print.
Okay.
So can I ask you before we go? So the audio are you done doing the audio for it, or so you still have to do that? So how does that work? Do you go into a studio and just record the whole thing?
Yeah. So I've worked closely with this individual. He is in Black Mountain, North Carolina. His name's Josh Lloyd. He ran a publication called the Ridge Journal for a while. Used to have a podcast and all the things. And so he has a full studio in his house because media production is what he does. And so I was like, hey, ring, ring. I need to record this whole audiobook right now, and I need somewhere to do it. And so we're gonna break it up. I think it's gonna be 3-4 hour sessions. He thinks it might be a little longer, but I think we can get it done. When I was in the field last year and had copies of the book, and every time I'd get an updated version, I would read it. And so one time I was in the car with a specific rep. 2 times we were in the car a total of 4 hours, and I got through the whole book with her through those 2 visits. And so I'm like, okay, realistically, it's probably going to take us 12 hours with pauses, bathroom breaks, edits, all the above. But I think we can make it happen.
So is it like one of those things you've read, a page or whatever, and it's like, nope, do it again, or like how I imagine it's like if you go into the studio and you're reading for like a cartoon and you're like, nah, I don't like the way that you kind of said that last line, do it over, or it was perfect, let's do it again. Or is it just like you know what the page is about, like it's your story, it's you, so that has to make it a little bit easier, but I don't know
either.
Yeah,
I would imagine that you get creative freedom.
it's your book.
You can't go too crazy on the inflection of your voice. There are stipulations that the publisher had sent. But I know I can add a little bit of emotion here and there. I just can't start sobbing, and that's going to be the hardest thing for me because it's just like, it is very emotional just going back through my childhood and all the cool experiences I had. I'm like, man, my life has been rad my whole life. Like, I do rad shit. That's cool.
Yeah.
So can the publisher be like, nah, we didn't like the way you've read it, do it again? Like,
I hope
guess
not.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
No, I'm not
Sounds
saying
like they can.
So
Yeah.
it does. I guess they always can, right? Like,
Yeah.
wow. Well, good luck.
I need it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
you're gonna be great. Thank you for joining us
Yes.
No,
and
thank
taking
you,
the
Mark.
time to. Yeah, absolutely. We'll look forward to reading your book when it comes out.